If you're wondering, geez, they're talking a lot of football. Yes, get used to it. If you don't like football, I guess we'll see you next April.
Tigers.
Good luck. David, take a text first.
Yeah, someone's saying, guys, it's even worse with the Raiders. No Leatherwood. Gone is Ruggs. Gone is Arnett. Gone is Farrell from 2019. Gone is Abrams. Decline Jacobs. It's really bad.
Yeah, except they made the playoffs last year.
That's true.
Okay.
Right.
That is true.
I don't know what to tell you.
But I do wonder if this is maybe just trying to get rid of the Gruden players, the Gruden supporters.
That's crazy.
And we're going to start all over again.
Yeah, someone's saying it's crazy for you to say, Rico, that Dan Campbell is going to be the first coach gone. He's at least going to stay 4 years before they fire him.
I don't think he said that.
I didn't say Dan Campbell was going to be the first coach.
Or if he did, I did a bad job not hearing it. I didn't.
No, I said Pete Carroll was going to be the first coach.
I heard you say, I can see Dan
Campbell.
No,
I said I can see Dan Campbell being fired next year if the team doesn't do well. I said Pete Carroll can be the first because they'll end up, they need a quarterback and they will have the number 1 overall pick. That's a great selling point. So, yeah, let's get that correct, people.
Mike, David's newest child would bring more to the O-line than Leatherwood. He was awful.
Baby Teal.
And I'll say it to you again. Releasing a first-round pick a year into his career, there is no benefit to your team. Don't sell me that the 53rd roster spot is worth more than giving one more shot, one more try to a guy who played one season.
Yeah, you're going to pay him regardless, so yeah.
Like, what's the cost-benefit analysis here? Oh, great. I kept my 8th defensive lineman, 9th. That's all. I'm not an Alex Leatherwood fan. I'm just it is mind-numbing to me.
The only thing I can think of, once again, maybe that was Gruden, and there was people in the office that were against it.
Yeah.
And the second Gruden's not there to protect it, guys, we'll just eat the cost, get rid of this guy.
So we have talked a lot, college football and Michigan. And look, let's face it. I think there are very few teams that you can talk about the playoff. There's just not a lot of teams. Now, again, Michigan came from nowhere last year, and they got it done. Can it happen? Yes. But Rico has a stat, and I want you to set this up and take this away because this stat was stunning. And then he's got some data, the old algorithms, and some percentages.
Little analytics.
Set this up for the people because I think it's really interesting.
All right, Alabama came out. They were the preseason number 1, and everybody kind of agreed. I think they got every vote but about 4 or 5. But when you look at this, the stat is, out of the last 22 years, only 2 teams have started off preseason number 1 and finished as the national champions. That's it, folks. You got to go back to 2004, USC. They did it. They went wire to wire. And 2017, Alabama, preseason number 1, and then they also finished as national champion. That means 20 years, 20 different teams started off number 1. Somebody else won the Natty. My question is, you take away Alabama because history says they're not going to get this thing done this year. I know it sounds crazy, but every year there's a unanimous team almost sitting at 1, and they don't get it done. Take away Alabama. Who wins the national title? Because the safe bet is someone out in the field is going to get that. Then there's different numbers. Was the ESPN came out with the playoff odds?
I have it.
Okay.
So think about this. Even locally, you're a Michigan fan listening to this. Ohio State is given the best shot to make the playoff at 83%. Yet, we're all one bad half of defense away from making Michigan the favorite in the Big Ten. So it's not like Ohio State is a big shoo-in. And for all their success, how many national titles do they have? Then there's Georgia. Look, Georgia's got a ton of talent, but they're replacing their entire backfield. They're replacing their best wide receiver. They're replacing most of the defense. I don't know. Clemson. Rico's already written the obituary. O-line's a disaster. Uiagalelei might be a 5-star bust.
New offensive and defensive coordinators, yeah.
Notre Dame, given a 30% chance, except the free world thinks they're getting their ass kicked on Saturday. Then there's Michigan. They can't pick a quarterback. People have doubts going back-to-back to beat the Ohio State team we just talked about. Texas, we're back, except when they lose in September. OU, we've talked about going under 9.5 because Brent Venables, new staff, new quarterback, gutted by the portal. Miami's Miami, which turnover chain cutscene, 4 losses. Utah we like, we just talked about it. Half of us are afraid they're going to lose in the swamp. Then you get down to teams with a 4%, 3%, 2% chance. Okie State, no thank you. My family, LSU, no shot. Auburn, you must be kidding. MSU, 2%. Penn State, signed James Franklin, 2%. And then David's guy, Jimbo Fisher. Those are the only 16 teams that ESPN bothers to give percentages on making the playoff. So if Bama doesn't get this done, which history says they won't, who the F does? It's a fascinating conversation as we head towards the real kickoff.
2 out of the last 22.
Who do you pick? Who do you pick?
Because I don't think Georgia. I guess the safest bet is Ohio State.
Is it? New defensive coordinator, and they haven't had a defense in 2 years.
But the first game's going to tell me a lot about the defense. If the defense, Mike, if Ohio State's defense can at least be top 40, they can get this done because they can outscore anybody. Can they just be a top 40 defense? Not asking for top 20, top 10, top 40.
Is it Clemson based on no other ACC team matters? It's Cristobal's first year at Miami. The O-line has to be better. Uiagalelei can't be that bad, can he? He's still the kid who went to Notre Dame and threw for 400 at night. I'm asking. I'm not ready to tell you Notre Dame. Georgia would be a great play, but I got to see one first because, they're not just replacing dudes. They're replacing first-round NFL talent. I can't buy Texas. I can't buy OU. God, I love Utah, but
you know what?
I'm afraid they're going to lose this weekend.
Here's the thing. We keep talking about Ohio State, Mike. If Notre Dame pulls off the upset, then I think they catapult and they become that team. Because after that, their schedule, very favorable. Yes, they finished the year off with USC, but
could it be U of M? If Ohio State's vulnerable, U of M's the favorite. Now the question becomes, can U of M do something they haven't done seemingly since films were silent and in black and white, which is win in Columbus?
No, and I'm going to say no because I don't think that any team outside of Ohio State in the Big Ten is capable of beating the Alabama, Georgia type teams and that style. So it's not a slight against Michigan. You could say Penn State. They're not built for that. Michigan State, not built for that.
Dude, Michigan is starting like a freshman at D end and a converted wideout in Sandra still at nickel. That ain't a good sign.
Right.
So you're right in that when the water gets deep,
right,
that's probably the end for that defense. David, if I tell you Bama's not getting this done, who is?
First one to come up to me would be Ohio State. And I get it. We do have questions with their defense, but they are just so powerful offensively.
Dare we say the winner of that game? Because I'm saying, if Notre Dame pulls off the upset, they got Ohio State in their back pocket. Ohio State could run the rest of the schedule, but Notre Dame would have the tiebreaker over them, and that's all they would need. And Lord knows everybody wants to see the Irish all the time on TV. I can see Notre Dame taking that spot.
Kenny, Bama doesn't get it done. Who does?
I would be absolutely terrified of Ohio State in that spot, especially being a Georgia fan. New defense. Could you imagine Ohio State going up against Georgia's new defense with that offense? That's terrifying.
And that's
absolutely terrifying.
If Ohio State has a top 40 defense, Mike, if they're just a little above okay.
Jim Knowles is as sharp as it gets as a DC. I know Big 12. Oklahoma State established a defense in a conference with no defense at a school that doesn't get uber premium athletes. And it's a defense based on chaos. I got to see it. But, yeah, Rico's right. If it's top 40, maybe it is OSU. Why are we doing this exercise? Well, it's fun, and it's a Tuesday, and it's football.
But it was just an interesting stat that I found.
It speaks to there's not this collection of teams we're all comfortable with.
Right.
There's not.
And the fact that 20 out of 22 years, the team that started off preseason number 1 did not finish. It's almost like being on that preseason Heisman watch list.
Yep.
You don't win the Heisman. Heisman always comes from clear out of the blue.
248-539-9797. Quickly, David.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this question because you're saying if Ohio State's vulnerable against Notre Dame, you brought up Michigan. What about Michigan State?
No. Stop.
Once again, I don't think Michigan State's team is built to beat the big boys. They're built to beat Big Ten teams. But the Big Ten, they're not elite.
Why don't we see if we can lose to OSU by less than 50? I'll have that conversation.
I'm only saying it because you're saying they would be vulnerable if they lose to Notre Dame. You beat Michigan already twice in Tucker's era. I'm just saying.
It depends on how Ohio State does. 248-539-9797. If not Alabama, who?